by Japan and JICA in developing countries. For example, the firstly, the JICA initiate and developed in the Philippines. But the most flourished country is Indonesia. Due to UPI ですよね。due to UPI and due to Sumaru 先生。or Asep Sensei, Arif Sensei. So the most of the today's audience must have the thanks to UPI's effort, maybe today's flourish outcomes are coming. And no one doubt my speech. Also, so many countries and people in not only in Japan but also all over the developed countries, they refer to the Indonesian case lesson study. So, but Hiroshima University's role, of course, some of another section helps to disseminate the lesson study. But our mission as an institute is not only to help the dissemination of the lesson study or learning improvement. The mission of SAIS is like MI6 in the UK 007. So that means we need to create a new method or new style or new philosophy to be created. That's our mission. Due to our mission, we initiated the how we can transform from UPI's the greatest legacy to another university. For example, Pakuan University or Bali Island, as I mentioned yesterday, Bali. So the starting point is UPI, but from university to university, we could disseminate their know-how of lesson study. So several years back, I and Arif Sensei got up very early morning. For example, at once, I landed in Jakarta Airport. And Siti Komaria-san, can you on mute?
Bapak Ibu tolong bisa di mute dulu. Host boleh membantu panitia.
Okay, thank you very much. Once I landed into Jakarta Airport, and then Arif Sensei guided me to the hotel in Jakarta. But 3 hours later, he came to be at my room and then get up me, and then take to the airport again. And then 5:30 o'clock, we went to another place for observing the lesson study. So from directly from the airport to the school, after observing, we go somewhere and then come back to the hotel. So, but next morning was also 5 o'clock. But the car never coming to attach us. So that's the kind of, that's a daily life in Indonesia about my life. But anyway, I enjoyed very much in Indonesia. So even after the pandemic, I feel nostalgia. I'd like to come back. Even Arif Sensei coming to me the early morning. I want to go back to Indonesia. But in that time, why Arif Sensei get up me such an early morning? But I feel nowadays I feel nostalgia. Even getting up early morning. I want to go back to Indonesia. Thank you very much. And also, we created the peer tutoring project in a classroom in the Garo community, Bangladesh. Garo is the one of ethnic minority in Bangladesh, or some of them are living in Myanmar. Usually, their Garo ethnicity had the deprived vulnerability, fragility. What kind of fragility or vulnerability means that, for example, in the Garo community, they talk by themselves at the home, their language, Garo language. On the other hand, when they visit to school, the teacher conduct their class in Bangla language. So the Garo community people had in the deprived status. They cannot understand well in classroom. So we talked with the principal at the school. We created the new. This is not the new style, but in applying the developing countries, in the sense of applying the developing countries, that is the new kind of method of educational development. Okay. Before we after visited a preliminary period of our visiting in Bangladesh, we wanted to introduce about the lesson study because of we have also knowledge and also rich experiences in Indonesia or some other country. Anyway, the lesson study is the Japanese origin is Japan. So we wanted to introduce our method to Bangladesh through the lesson study. It was a bit difficult because when I asked to the principal replied to our question, yes, lesson study is very good, but it's a bit difficult because nowadays community people, they don't have any awareness or understanding what our kids are studying in the school. So if they feel even a bit reluctant, the pupils, students, just very easily drop out from the primary school. Or some of girls who are going to school level, secondary or primary school, if they can obtain some, housekeeping job in the capital city, Dhaka, they must drop out even from the primary school. That was reality. But if they continue the schooling from the primary to the secondary level, upper secondary level, they can get some kind of better job than the house worker. principal said. So we had to make some convince with the community people or parent side. Please understand what the pupil or students are studying at the school. But it was very complicated. If maybe in Indonesia, maybe not so complicated, but in Bangladesh, for example, if a school invite the community people to the school, they cannot come, not at all. So the community people also the school side, they didn't want to change the schooling time. So we created peer tutoring. What the peer tutoring is that, let me show you. For example, teacher usually teaches to students. But we changed the sheet arrangement. For example, usually Garo students are tends to be a low achiever. And another Bangladeshi students tends to be high achiever compared with the Garo students. So we changed to high achiever sit next sheet of low achievers. And then teacher create 5 minutes, or in some case 10 minutes. After teaching the new things in a new unit, teacher give to the students 5 minutes, or maybe 7-8 minutes. And the high achiever teach to low achiever. So then the teacher that we were calling peer tutoring. Teacher side can check what the student side are understanding. Also, teacher can facilitate peer tutoring. So that is the the unit of this peer tutoring project. Peer tutoring are belong to the education psychology as education psychology term. On the other hand, maybe we couldn't study well theoretically about the peer tutoring. Just we changed the sheet arrangements. I don't know how this was effectiveness, but at least a year later, we visited to there, and then we checked and evaluated the peer, or how the peer tutoring conducted. I don't know how they could have a very well result, but somehow we conducted a year. And also next is homework project with the parental support in South Africa. That also we talked with the principals in South Africa. As you know, South Africa must have still now the negative legacy of discrimination, which is named as apartheid. Have you ever heard apartheid? The Black people are ignored or were made staying in the underdeveloping status. That was very sad. On the other hand, still now, the negative legacy are remaining in the place of the living who Black people are living in township. The township is a name of an area in the South Africa because of in the apartheid era, the white people were living in the comfortable area. On the other hand, the Black people were living in a bit dirty and narrow area. So still now we are calling there as township. Hi. So also the township people have no awareness to their children's education. So again, when we started the dialogue with the principal at the school, the principal said, yeah, lesson study is good. On the other hand, our community members, community people have no awareness of their children's education. So the children very easily try to be left from the school. Dropout is also still deeper problem in South Africa. So we created homework project with parental support in South Africa. Yeah, usually the pupil go to school and teacher give the pupil homework. So this is homework. So pupil bring back to home. And then we arranged and we asked to community side, please conduct or please engage these homework with father and mother or grandfather, grandmother, sometimes a sister and brothers. Anyway, pupils' homework must be treated within all of the family members. We redesigned the homework. And also we published the official letter to each household. Please cooperate this homework project. So homework was not only include just making the formula or memory, studying about that, not so much interesting things. But also, we created the homework. For example, we give the very, very long iron wire to pupil. Okay, so you can bring back this iron wire to the home, and then you can make anything as you can, as you like. You can fabricate this iron wire, and then please make anything as you like. Then father and mother suggested to pupils, and then some of the pupil fabricated the iron wire, and then the iron wire became a helicopter. So also they don't have experimental equipment, but they have a kind of butter, margarine, oil, or some other, ingredients for cooking. So the pupil could status or observe throughout observing the, for example, firstly, butter. Please, give the heating the butter. Why butter would be melted? Maybe please consider with the father and mother. That kind of homeworks, we created 40 homeworks like that. Every week we were given in to pupil side. Okay, so we coordinated with the Pretoria University and Hiroshima University that in between school side and the home side. That was also successfully conducted a year. But after the pandemic, it has been changed. Maybe so far, unfortunately, so far, its homework project closed due to pandemic. Next, also lesson study projects by learning community style in a secondary school in Vietnam. So the Vietnam borrowed the Professor Manabu Sato, who were emeritus professor in Tokyo University. So far, the professor of Gakushuin. We borrowed his framework. The Manabu Sato, Professor Manabu Sato is the big name also even in Japan. The we target also as the structure, it was a bit different than the Indonesian lesson study projects. Vietnam is the communist country. So the government command to local government command to target secondary schools. So firstly, the community people didn't want to conduct the lesson study. Why? Because we didn't get any command from the government, local government. But lesson study is the bottom-up activity. So we made a convince no, this isn't the all over the education activities are not belonged to government, belonged to ourselves. We and Vietnam National University Hanoi explained many times to the principals in secondary schools. Yeah, so we tried to make effort, enterprising and to propose lesson study implementation program. Finally, we get approved from the school side, and then implemented lesson study as same as Indonesia. And then we also obtained the results of the lesson study and analyzed and started dialogue. Those results went to government side. So in Vietnam, they never had the bottom-up system. They had just only the top-down system. But throughout conducting the lesson study project in Vietnam, we established the bottom-up system. After our project, the government formed a committee for the professional learning community, professional PLC, professional learning community. The government created, and the person in charge in Vietnam National University became a committee member. Okay, and final one is the school-based tutorial in Ethiopian secondary education. In Ethiopia, one school had tutorial slot. They had after the regular classes, the students and teachers remain in the school, and they conducted just a tutorial to teach. The student side can question to the teacher side, for example, in terms of science or in terms of mathematics. They said something, and then if teacher can judge or understand, maybe that this week's content were very difficult. If so, okay, supplementary teacher could teach to the students. Hi, we and Addis Ababa University teams conducted and recommended tutorial slots, not only Friday, but also from Monday to Friday. So total 5 units, tutorial units were created. So that's the, also, it was very difficult because of, they didn't want to change the class time, but the school side, somehow they wanted to get the outcome of the national exam. So we successfully conducted a year without any extra salary for the teachers. So as same as lesson study, Ethiopian secondary education raised their level. Okay, so just today I'd like to finish today's speech, and let me talk tomorrow what what those outcomes could be evaluated. Kind of that. Thank you, Arif-san. Just mic is yours.
はい。ありがとうございます、先生。Thank you very much indeed for your presentation. And this is the second part of the series. So I do believe participants, you might waiting for tomorrow for the final conclusion from the learning improvement practice in the Asia-Africa dialogues or Asia-Africa education. Now, I would like to see the chat room, whether we have some questions or inquiries from the participants. We still have about 10 minutes or more than 10 minutes, less than 15 minutes here. Participants, if you have some question or inquiries, please do not hesitate to raise hand and open mic, or you might put the questions on the chat room, whether to everyone or direct message. Ibu Elika, you want to say something? No? Okay. Bapak dan Ibu, silakan jika ada pertanyaan bisa diajukan lewat chat room atau Bapak Ibu membuka mic terkait dengan praktek tadi. We have heard practice in Bangladesh, learning improvement in Bangladesh, and then in South Africa, and then initially the practice know-how from one university, the case of UPI, to other universities in Indonesia. Is there any comments or questions? You're most welcome, please, participants. Oh, somebody send me direct message, Sensei. This is the questions. Garo practice. It means in
Bangladesh.
In Bangladesh. How students can change their communication mode from Garo to he mentioned different language. I mean, from Garo to other language. How students can manage themselves to change their modes of communications and during the process in school.
Yes. So this phenomena is also be observed in the Ethiopia. The to some extent, the African countries must have the so many languages. So in Ethiopia also, the teacher speak Amharic mainly, but for compensation of with the ethnic minorities. So sometimes they try to supplementary explain in the ethnic minority language. So the student side, I cannot understand detail, but to some extent, minority side also can speak Bangla language. And also the majority side, also to some extent, they can talk the minority language. So among students, it was no problem to communicate. But sometimes they try to use the Bangla language, but sometimes they try to. So that kind of communication. If we conduct official communication, maybe the minorities have the difficulty. Minorities at the minority side, but on the other hand, if they casually they frequently and fluently communicate each other. So those communication style were brought in the classroom. So the minority side that raised their upgraded their understanding. Also, my majority side could successfully understand about what the headache, what the difficulty at the minority side. So it was not only the sheet arrangement, but also both of the ethnicities could understand each other as the friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sensei, for the response. Sensei, there's another question from Ms. Zetri Uslita. She said that I have questions. What difference in application between lesson study in Japan and tutor-based study in Bangladesh? Sensei, please.
Application between lesson study in Japan and the tutor in Bangladesh, and maybe
tutorial based. Yes,
tutorial is in Ethiopia.
Tutor based. Yeah.
Application means what the meaning of in this sense application
maybe he want to address the questions, the difference between lesson study practice and then tutor based. Yes, I think tutor based is in Ethiopia.
Ethiopia, isn't it?
Yeah, in Ethiopia. In what case they are different, Sensei?
Totally different. Because of in Ethiopia, they don't do anything about anything. They don't approach to teacher side. The mainly student side. So the teacher will date with the students who don't want to, who couldn't understand about the difficult content of mathematics and science. So in Ethiopia, the teacher side or student side, particularly teacher side, had implementation in learning. So maybe I'm on the right track. Mainly in Japan, the lesson study approach to teacher side, but in Ethiopia, and we approach to student side. Means that the teacher teach the difficult part in the students, but not we, the government or school side never paid the extra money to the teachers. So teacher had complaining to this project. Also, teacher had to remain without without any the extra money. So teacher wanted to go back. And also, mathematics teachers had very, difficult, much complaining because students cannot understand mathematics. So in the tutorial unit, the students mainly came to the math teachers. And then math teachers had to respond, had to answer to the many questions. So math teachers had to remain at the school after school 2 hours. But the promise was 30 minutes to 1 hour. So math teachers claimed to the principals. That was also one of the problem and one of the difference with the Japanese teachers. The Japanese teachers never say the complaining about the lesson study. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Sensei. Well, considering the constraint of time in your side, is it okay? Just one last question?
Just one last question. Okay, thank you.
And then from Miss Julia, she said that, Sensei, you explained that it was difficult to implement lesson study in Bangladesh and in South Africa, such as because of low awareness and understanding. How to make it easy because I difficult to make it clear. This is a personal experience. Sensei, yes, if you have some insight to answer this question.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, we published the letter from the school side or letter from the governmental side or letter from the Hiroshima University. We distributed each household. If the school pupils are the 400, we published 400 letters to distribute it throughout the students. And then the community side responded to us. Of course, we cooperate. So if we, when we were in the South Africa and Bangladesh, we conducted a workshop at the school auditorium. And then I speak the meaning of the lesson study project in this area. And also what the merit we can get after the school. Somehow we made a convince with the community people. So there are maybe no only one way. On the other hand, maybe if our passion could be tell to the local people must cooperate. That is my big findings throughout those action research projects. So writing letter, workshop, several methodology are prepared. So if you need some more suggestions, maybe the size can cooperate to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the generous and for the offer, Sensei. Well, it's almost 1 o'clock. It's almost 2 o'clock here and then 3 o'clock in Japan. So Sensei, if you want to continue with your activity, you're most welcome. And then I would like to say on behalf of the participant, thank you so much indeed, Sensei. Okay, Sensei, you might turn off your camera, but still join with us. Thank you so much. And then audience of the Knowledge and Innovation Exchange Series 2. Now I would like to jump up with the second speaker. And this speaker is coming from Sriwijaya University. I believe you know her. Her name is Professor Ratu Ilma, Professor in Mathematics Education of Sriwijaya University. Professor Ratu Ilma, you have about, I think, around 45 minutes for the presentation, and then we will spend the rest of the time until 3 o'clock for the dialogue. Okay. Ratu, you are most welcome.
Thank you, Pak Arif. Okay, good afternoon. I hope Professor Kusakabe is still here, but no problem. Hello, everyone. I would like to thanks to you can come to our presentation. So I need to present my experience using the lesson study and design research. Okay, Pak Arif, I would like to say hello first. My Excellencies of Professor Dr. Muhammad Solehuddin as Rector of Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. I hope he
fortunately he has another meeting, Prof. Really sorry. He will attend tomorrow.
Okay. Associate Professor Sumar Hendrayana, PhD. Hello, Pak Sumar. And Associate Professor Dr. Rernat Asep Supriyatna, MSc. I hope still here. And of course, our moderator, Associate Professor Arif Hidayat, PhD. And all of participants in KIC Series 2 in this afternoon. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share my presentations about this one. Could you see my presentation, Pak Arif?
Yes, it is clear, Prof.
Okay. Yeah, like this. Implementation, lesson study, and design research in Universitas Sriwijaya. Okay. This is my short CV, my very interesting experience about lesson study when I joined in ITEP 2017 from JICA, Tokyo, and Japan. Of course, thank you for Pak Asep, Pak Arif, and Pak Sumar have that chance to me to join in that program. Okay. This is a content this afternoon about lesson study and design research. What, why, and how. We can see that lesson study is teacher in collaboration. Select a topic and plan and prepare a lesson and call it a research lesson. And then one teachers enact the research lesson and the other observe the student in the class. And finally, teachers discusses their observation. Discussion and the reflection on classroom practices and student learning further stimulate teachers' professional development. According to Masami Isoda, lesson study movement for improving teaching practice, mathematics educators have been developing lesson study community elementary school teachers. So, and then according to Romero 2004, a group of teachers develops a lesson together and ultimately one of them teach the lesson while the other observe the student learning. Of course, and then the Fernandez and Chockley 2002 said like teachers collaboratively plan a research lesson, observe this lesson live, collect data, and analyze them together to improve pupils' learning. And lesson study has contributed the teacher's professional development, improving teaching practice, improving student learning, and building and sustaining professional learning community. Something like the said a review of Su and Peder 2014. Lesson study implementation in Universitas Sriwijaya. Since 2004, all of the head of study program in our faculty in Sriwijaya University, introduction to lesson study, and in Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia. And then we got a hibah or something like a funding of higher education about lesson study since 2010 till 2012. And 2013 also we have a hibah or funding by higher education again about lesson study. And 2017, I have chance to go to Tokyo and JICA to study about lesson study for learning community in 2017 in join in a program ITAP. What kind of ITAP? We call it Institute of Teacher Training and Education Personnel in JICA, Japan, Tokyo. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share you about lesson study project. Student teachers do lesson study in teacher education since 2010, something like this. The content about Pythagoras theorem, plan, do, and see. As a model is Professor Zucardi in that time. And then we can see that our student teacher solved the problem how to make the formula about Pythagoras theorem in one of content in our course, of course. Okay, and then the close about the reflection. See the reflection about this activity, only plan, do, and see, something like that, and a different style from since 2010, and you can see that the style of in a lesson study for learning community. Okay, next about lesson study project in primary teachers do lesson study in teacher community. Something like this, the teacher plan something about the place value, and then they solve the problem, make a media, and then they make activity how to teach about the place value. And then they simulation in front of the classroom, how to teach in the classroom when they back to their class. And then they make a reflections, which one they need to revise, something like, I don't know, sometimes they convince about the activities, but when they simulation in the classroom, so there is many things to need to revise, of course, yeah. And then next, lesson study project, primary teachers do lesson study in primary school. We can see the primary school students doing mathematics collaboratively. Okay, this is in SD Primary School 117 in Canton. Of course, Palembang people already know about this school. Yeah, this is an activity using the lesson study in primary school. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say about lesson study for learning community. When I study in Tokyo, Japan, 2017. This is the implementation. 4 phases in lesson study: plan, of course, in this space, teacher design the learning material that suit the student. And the second, do. The goal in this space is to conduct the learning processes that have been designed. And then the third, see. The goal in this space is to find advantages and weaknesses in the learning process. And the fourth, redesign. This space is meant to fix the learning process and as a documentation for teachers involved in the preceding phase. Hello, community, please mute this participant, please. Sorry. Okay, I would like to say about design research. This is a design research book, the newest that written by the expert of design research in the world, by Arthur Bakker. You can buy this book, of course, in Amazon or anything. Of course, you need to pay some rupiahs or dollar. You can see in that application. Yeah, it is a very newest book about design research. Developing theories of mathematics education, because my expertise about mathematics education are still unusual. Mathematics educators have been developing lesson study community. So, according to Kuno Grafenmeier, 2007, explained the process to develop the local theory of teaching through design research. According to Dolly van Erde, design research as a research approach in which the design of educational material is interwoven with the development of theory. So we can say the differences of name. 1998, we call it development research, and then 1992 and 2003, the name is about design experiment, and then 2003 changed design-based research, and then educational design research, and the final, we call it the design research. This is the name. If you find something different name, so it's okay if you see this name in this table of or this list. So the same. This is the design research. Basis in design research, or preparation and design, conducting the design experiment, and conducting the retrospective analysis. Design research have two types, and I want to say in this presentation only a type of validation studies. There are three phases in these types. The aim of design research, validation studies in local instructional theory about learning process of the student to develop that. And then if you use the development research, the aim is the educational material product that are designed to support that learning. Okay, there are two types, validation studies and development studies. Okay, design research in UNSRI or Universitas Sriwijaya. All of this using the design research. First, designing portal of p4mri.net. You can see in this portal. And then designing two journal mathematics education, Jurnal Pendidikan Matematika and Journal on Mathematics Education indexed by Scopus. And the third, designing sandwich master, a collaboration Utrecht and Universitas Sriwijaya. IMPOME, we call it that program, 2010 till 2015. And designing PISA and mathematics literacy contest, or contest literasi matematika since 2010. And then to design about the Southeast Asian Design Research International Conference since 2013. And then designing 25 series PMRI lesson at TVRI Sumatra Selatan or South Sumatra since 2014. I used that design research to design the material in this project. And the seventh, designing sandwich program on Doktor Indomie since 2018. And the last, designing UNSRI as Center of PMRI since 2016. Next. Now, I would like to say about lesson study for learning community and design research. How to use it? Okay. According to Arthur Bakker, differences between lesson studies and design research. First, main aim. Lesson study aim to professional development of teachers and teams. But in design research, main aim is design and research. And about the drive is in lesson study, education driven, and design research, research driven. Okay. And next unit, in lesson study, one lesson, and design research can be series of lesson, can be series of course, can be series of tool and environment, and etc. Role of theories. In lesson study, only input, but in design research, input and output. What about iterative? Yes, both of that, lesson study and design research, iterative. Yeah, but in design research, a talk not always. Yeah, okay, we can see the material that we design. The consent is lesson study is optimization, and design research is innovation. What about the sharing? Sharing in lesson study about lesson and local, but sharing in design research, publication, and design. And the last, prior prediction or plan in lesson study, anticipation, and design research. Of course, we design about hypothetical learning trajectories, design scenario, conjecture maps, and design principles. These are the differences between lesson studies and design research according to Arthur Bakker. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give you inspiration about our research about one topic. This is basis of research implementation. We call it in design research preparation and design. And in lesson study, we call it plan. So we can see this designing a learning instrument, lesson plan, test or assessment, an HLT on hypothetical learning trajectory, and making prediction of a student answer with mathematics teacher, choose a model teacher in the teacher experiments. We can see that the combine between lesson study and design research. Next, this is the activity when design, then they, of course, we need to find the theories before we design something, design materials. This is the activity using the lesson studies in a plan. Okay. And next, we can see they find the lesson plan and the lesson plan that they already designed. Something like this. Yeah, we can see this as a very bad face and then a smile face. Of course, the focus on the content, right? We can see that what kind of the content. And next, design experiment, we call it in the design research and pilot. There are two phases, is a pilot experiment and teaching experiment. But in lesson study, we call it a do. Yeah, in lesson study. Okay. In pilot experiment, we use only 3 students or 4 students in one group. Maybe you can in 2 group. It's except your research. Student confused with the problem and he or she asks for help to solve the problem. We can see this. He confused the problem and then he asked to the friend in front of them or beside of him, and they can solve the problem. In teaching experiment, after revision of HLT, researcher and team implementing in the classroom. We call it, you can see that the U shape when we use the lesson study. So the teacher can use the HLT that our design before with the teacher and implementation in the classroom. Okay, you can see this one. Farel terlihat, Farel sleepy, and they try to ask the teacher, but they asked to the friend in front in the group, yeah, and then they you can see the friend. His friend can help Farel to solve the problem. Next phases in design research is a retrospective analysis and doing reflection after teaching experiment. You can see this one, but we call it in lesson study is reflection. And of course, we design something like redesign if we in design research, we compare between HLT and ALT or actual learning trajectory. So we can see with what kind of very weakness our student cannot solve the problem. So we need why. So we can see, and then we can revise after we implement in our HLT, our activity in the classroom. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the one task we call it jumping task. Rika has a cake. 2/3 of the cake is smeared with green tea topping, and 1/4 part is sprinkled with cheese. How many slices of cake are served with green tea topping and a sprinkling of cheese? Make a sketch of the cake. This is the problem that we give to our student. We can see the prediction of teacher and then the student answer. This is the prediction and this is the student answer. I will back to here. Yeah, okay. You can see this one. The prediction of a teacher, solve the problem, the answer of the problem is 2. So we can see the student answer about this problem. They can make a sketch of this problem, but when we see about the calculation is wrong. It's okay, but why? And then why she can or he cannot solve the problem correctly. This is about the problem in the math about the fraction multiplication. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's all of our activity using lesson study inspiration in one topic about fraction multiplication. Okay, next I will give you information about publication when we use a combination between lesson study and design research. This is a journal in our university, Sinta 2, we call it like this. This is the address of this journal about developing PISA-like math tasks in algebra using the Arabic context. She designed this material using the design research of about the methodology and the system using the lesson study for learning community. And next, we call it this supporting mathematics teacher to develop jumping tasks using PISA framework. Zulkardi and I designed this problem and design of tasks, and then we try out in the classroom, of course, using the PISA problem or PISA framework. In the PISA framework, of course, we can see the context, what kind of context in PISA, and we can combine or we can adaptation with AKM in Indonesia, what kind of context that we can use in that problem. Okay, next, the data package in learning mean using LSLC and PMRI about the data. Yeah, and then this is already published, and then of course in GPM in bahasa penalaran matematis siswa dalam pembelajaran pola bilangan menggunakan PMRI and LSLC. Mathematic reasoning, student mathematic reasoning in pattern using the PMRI and lesson study for learning community. And next, this is a publication in Journal Mathematics on Mathematics Education, indexed by Scopus, Q2, about designing a healthy menu project for Indonesian junior high school student. We call it, this is using the PGBL or project-based learning, of course, using lesson study for learning community, using design research and instructional theory using the PMRI. Next, developing PMRI learning environment through lesson study for pre-service primary school teacher. We calling design the learning environment. How the pre-service primary school teacher know about PMRI, know about the learning material, know about how to using the lesson study for learning community in the classroom, how to connect to the teacher to solve the problem, to design the material, and etc. Okay. And next, in Sinta 2, of course, journal element about the pemecahan masalah matematis siswa using PMRI through lesson study and learning community in a gradient. Okay, next. About analysis higher order thinking scale student in a pattern using the PMRI through lesson study for learning community. And this about the next other journal, International Journal on Emerging Mathematics Education, of course, Sinta 2, of course, also about the sharing tasks and jumping tasks, direct proportion using lesson study and problem-based learning. And of course, we publish in Proceeding Index by Scopus using the design efficient mixed fraction material using PMRI and lesson study. Also using PMRI and lesson study using the design research. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have, of course, about Sriwijaya International Journal of Lesson Study. We already published in a third edition. If you want to about the lesson study, you can also publish in this journal. This is a new journal specific for lesson plan, for learning, lesson study, and lesson material, and etc. And learning improvement, you can publish in this journal also. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is all of my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Iya, enggak apa-apa.
Hello, Pak Arif. Are you still there? Pak Arif?
Okay. Apologize, Prof. Ratu. Apologize.
Okay.
I have some visitors. Okay. Thank you so much for the presentation, Prof. Ratu Ilma from Sriwijaya University. And then basically, I have seen some part of the slides, which is for me is part of the reinforcement for my memory. Thank you so much. And then now we would like to open our dialogue session. And then we have two presenters here. The first one is Kusakabe Sensei. Let me double check. Yes, he's still here, but he's in other activities. And but you are most welcome if you want to put questions on him through chat room. And the second one, of course, Professor Ratu from Sriwijaya University. Bapak dan Ibu, silahkan jika Bapak dan Ibu ada pertanyaan atau komentar atau ingin menyampaikan sesuatu terkait dengan topik yang disampaikan oleh Profesor Kusakabe dan Profesor Ratu Ilma. Sedikit barangkali saya ingin menyapa Pak Sumar, nampaknya beliau sedang paralel juga dengan rapat di kementerian. Pak Sumar, Bapak bersama kami, Pak? Oke, baik. Di sini kita lihat di ruang chat, we have one participant who, I think this is comment from Miss Rina O. I don't know what is the abbreviation for O. She said that as we know in PMRI, there are 3 principles and then 5 characteristics, as we know. Truly, I don't know. For mathematics education, this is maybe familiar. Can you explain us, Bu Prof, the role of these principles and characteristics in each passage, design research and lesson study? Because we wondering using these 3 words, PMRI, design research, and lesson study. Wow, I think this is a question to be answered. Okay, over to you, Professor Rat, please.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Arif. Thank you, Bu Rina. It's very interesting question. There are 3 parts about the design research, PMRI, and lesson study for learning community. Of course, we use the system of lesson study for learning community and methodology using the design research and instructional theory using the PMRI, Pendidikan Matematika Realistik Indonesia. You have already say in the 3 principle and 5 characteristic. Oh, yes. When I will tell you about how, when and how you can use that characteristic and principle. When you design the materials, maybe the activities, of course, using the context. The first characteristic, using the context. If you use the context and of course, connected to the material, connected to the content, of course. If you want to design about area, so according to theory, you need to using the unit. So you need to find the context, which one you're using the units. Oh, okay, tile. You can use that. Okay, the chest, right? The bulk of the chest or the plate of the chest, you can use that because using the unit. Yes, that's it. The first characteristics of PMRI. And then you can design when the design experiment of two part pilot. Of course, before that, you need to design about HLT or HLT, hypothetical learning trajectory. What kind of activity first, using the context, and then the next equation to guide your equation until our student can understand the concept. And then you can design again how can our student can solve the problem. Maybe a level about reasoning or level 3. In that part, of course, using the characteristic of PMRI, interactivity, and then student contribution, and intertwine between one concept and other concept. That's the characteristic of PMRI. And then 3 of principle. Wow, I think like make a lecture in the class. Okay, the phenomenology. And like if you guided reinvention, what kind of guided reinvention? When you design the activity using the one question and next question, and until make our student understand that concept, that's it, guided reinvention. If you guide our student to find the Pythagoras theorem, so student can feel, okay, I am the Pythagoras. That's the guided of reinvention. That's our one of inspiration. Of course, the other content you can use like that. And that's it, the principle of our of PMRI. We can blend our using the lesson study, design research, and instructional theory using the PMRI. I think that's all to answer the question of Rina, Pak Arif.
Yeah, what a very impressive. I mean, it looks like that we want to make a blending some fruits.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the explanation, Prof. Another question is from Miss Julia Roli Senang Banurea. She said that, do we have to make transcript analysis when doing lesson study? And then how many times should the school make the lesson study, ma'am? Ma'am means this question addressed to you, Professor Ratu. Please, Professor Ratu, over to you.
Yeah, Julia, right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, we make a transcript. Every time we use the lesson study, of course, we have a transcript. Every time we use the design research, of course, we have a transcript. What kind of the communication about the between student and student, between teacher when solve the problem. If our student cannot solve the problem, so we can connect between a student to student. To please, you can ask to your student, your friend, to help you when you want to solve the problem. Of course, we have. How many times should the school make the lesson study? How many time? maybe for one lesson, or I think Bu Julia. Yeah, if we design our one lesson using the lesson study, yeah, depend on you. If every time we can contribution, communication and collaboration with teacher in the classroom to make to design the activities. I think so. How many times? Yeah, depend on you. Depend on your research. Depend on your material. Something as I think not only one times, of course, many times. That's it, Pak Arif.
Yeah. Thank you, Bu. Thank you. And then I think I missed one question, and this question is coming from Zetri Sulista.
Yeah,
she said
I
that
know her.
relation in the class between DDR and lesson study.
DDR, I don't know. DDR in in France, didactical design research, we call it in France. Maybe you mean in UPI, I think, ya Pak Arif, ya. From Pak Didi, I think, but I don't know exactly about DDR. But DDR in France, the same with design research. If you have video at class, please share. I'm very thanks, Prof. Oh yes, we already have. Of course, we every time using the design research, using the lesson study in our research in implementation in the classroom. Of course, we have a video. When we make a open class, open lesson in lesson study. When we plan, when we open class, when we reflection, of course, we use the video. The video camera is very, very important in our part of lesson study. Is if you forget about that, so you cannot observe maximal. That's it, Bu Zetri.
Thank you, Prof.
Kembali. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prof. Ratu. And I think Pak Sumar, do you want to say something regarding the question? Maybe you want to join to deliver your opinion, Pak Sumar?
Yes.
Hold on, Pak. Let me pin your video, Pak. Hold on, Pak. Yes. Yeah. Pak Sumar, please, Pak Sumar.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Arif.
Yeah, Pak.
Yeah, in lesson study, that's can be a teacher side or a university staff side. I mean, hello, Pak Arif? Do you listen me?
Yes, I can hear you, Pak Sumar.
Prof. Ratu, yeah. I think in lesson study can be teacher need for student improvement or university staff need for improvement in university lecture, yeah, for mahasiswa, yeah. And a lesson study can be as a research, yeah, and lesson study can also be teacher professional development. Yeah, I mean how to improve the learning quality at a school level. Yeah. In case of university lectures for research purposes, of course we need to record everything and then we transcribe the video for the analysis.
I will share the video if they want, Pak Sumar.
Yeah, but for teachers, I think that's difficult for teachers for every lesson to be transcribed, yeah, because teacher I think so many activities, and also teachers research is not I mean just part of the I mean not obligation, yeah, not obligation, but teachers should be I mean the competence for how to improve the learning improvement, yeah, like how to observe the lesson, yeah, and how to reflect the lesson, yeah. I think that's a big job for teachers, yeah, because when we conduct the lesson, yeah, the model teacher actually that's the observer also. We should observe every single student, what they learn, what their difficulty. The teacher should, understand, should get the insight. Yeah. So, yeah, I tried that many times. Yeah. For teachers, I mean for improvement in daily life, in daily lesson, yeah, in daily teaching, the teacher is not necessary to transcribe every open class, every video of open class. But if the teacher want to promote or to publish the the research, yeah, maybe collaborate with the faculty member or university staff. Yeah, I think it's better to transcribe the video, yeah, for further analysis. Yeah, I think that's my idea. Yeah, that's my opinion about the the transcription, the video lesson. Yeah. Thank you, Pak Arif.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pak Sumar, for your discussion. And then let me look back in the chat room whether we have another questions.
Pak Arif, yes. I have something like experience in the video. May I share here?
Oh yes, please, Prof. You definitely, please.
I hope it's work, yeah.
Is it in YouTube? No.
No, but in the form a Google Drive. But I hope I try it first. I think it's work. Something like this.
Yeah, I can see the video and
there is a subtitle already.
Dan Pak Dirjen itu Pak Dirjen itu juga familiar dengan learning community.
Terima kasih kepada tepuk tangan kepada. Okay, this is our my research with our student in secondary school about the fraction multiplication using in the problem about like that. So we can see that Farrell cannot solve the problem, but they see he can sketch the fraction using the 2/3 and 1/4. But the calculation, he cannot solve the problem correctly. Something like that, Pak Arif. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Prof. Ratu. We can see the video, and it's very nice. You put the circle which student is becoming more focused, and then what's happened in that situation of learning. That's not easy task to edit the video. Thank you so much, Prof. Ratu. Yeah, and then I would like to see whether we have some questions here. We have again from Miss Rina. Oh, Prof, when I gave jumping tasks to my students in small group pilot class, it seems sharing tasks for them. Oh, jumping tasks, but becoming sharing tasks for them. So what should I do in field tests, field teaching? Do you think I have to give the same task in field tests, or I have to revise, making it more complex first before I give him? I think Miss Rina talking about different classroom. One classroom is maybe trial classroom, and another classroom is
field test.
Over to you, Prof. Ratu, please.
Okay, thank you, Burina. Burina, of course, you already know about design research, I think, because in a pilot experiment, we call it a pilot class, only the small group. So we try out our design, our material. So when we design of okay, it seems like sharing tasks. But when we try out in our classrooms, in the field test, so our problem become the jumping task. So what should we do? Of course, something like that, yeah, Burina. Yeah, in between every part of design research, preparing and design, and the design experiment, of course, there is something like revise. And before we go to teaching experiment, after pilot experiment, so we have a pilot and part of revise. And if we go to experiment or teaching experiment, so after that we have revise. We call it retrospective analysis. So if after we realize that, okay, I think this is sharing task, but when we try out in our classroom, so become the jumping task. What should we do? Okay, no problem. But after that, we need to, if one lesson, we need to give the student. After that, we think all of researcher and teacher, we have collaboration. So we need to go to next plan. What is next plan? If when we design the problem, we already predict every time of everything of level ability of our student, low level, medium level, and higher level. If all of the student cannot solve the problem, so you as a teacher can take the chance to solve the problem in front of the classroom. Okay, Burina? That's our question when I study in ITAP in JICA. If all of my students cannot solve the problem, so what should we do? What should I do to solve that problem? So Masami Isoda said to me, you can take the as a teacher, yeah, of course, model teacher, take the orchestra to solve the problem in front of the classroom and one by one to teach to your student. That's the clue. Thank you, Pak Arif. Okay, Pak Arif. Yeah, Pak Arif, there is you still, I think.
Sorry. Hold on. Sorry. Yeah, thank you so much for the answer. And I think today many questions addressed to you.
Yeah.
We have a question from our colleague in ULM, Pak Arif Salahuddin. He said that combining design research with lesson study, maybe it is more appropriate in the lesson study for higher education. Somehow he afraid that, he worried it is too difficult for teachers. So what do you think, Prof. Rat?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Pak Arif Salahuddin, for your question. Since 2004, we all Universitas Sriwijaya already combined between lesson study and design research, but a small topic. Only because, of course, through our student, through my research and my student research from undergraduate, master degree, and doctoral degree. We can use that, we can design that using the lesson study and design research. If in design research and lesson study, of course, we can collaborate with teacher. We can help our teacher. The point of design research, the purpose of design research, we can support our student to solve the problem, to understand the concept. And we can help our teacher to design something, to design material, like a lesson plan and lesson material and activities and assessment. So if you use the lesson study and design research, I think we can combine between them, using the theory in mathematics, using the PMRI, and maybe another subject, of course, can use other approach, of course. You can try it, Pak Arif. It's very interesting, and you can try in a small thing, only one indicator, I think. You can feel it's very curious. You can feel the curiosity, more curious for everything. I think that's all, Pak Arif.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. Ratu. Allow me to express my understanding as well. Well, actually, when we, as a personal designing lesson, not planning the lesson. Lesson plan is trying to determine the student learning. Design is for texturing the lesson. Determine the lesson and then texturing the lesson is quite different. Basically, when teachers do lesson study in a group for lesson plan, it's parts of the design research in the teacher's level, and also we might have a reflection as well. Yeah, that's quite interesting. I also read the book Theory of Didactic, Brousseau, J.J. Brousseau from French, and then he mentioned about learning obstacles, and I do believe those three types of the learning obstacles, ontology, epistemology, and another one can be part of the lesson plan. Lesson plan can be sharpen and then deepen while using design research. We have experience with Sumar Sensei when we were in Sumedang that lesson plan is more than one, more than once. For one lesson, we creating at least 2 lesson plan activities, but this is optional for teachers. This is not mandatory. Only when teachers think that, let's do another discussion of the lesson plan. Then thank you so much, Prof. Ratu. Let's see whether we have some questions from the participants, comments here. And she said that I got your point. The point is analysis, retrospective analysis before real teaching in classroom. I also experienced in the same case. Thanks for the full discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we still have a time to make a dialogue, Sensei. If you want to say something among your activities in Hiroshima, you're most welcome, Sensei. And let's see. Yeah, no more questions, I think. Prof. Ratu, maybe you want to make a closing statement regarding about this KIC series number 2, Prof. Please, Prof.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your experience, for your question, for your many interesting for our KIC series 2. And I hope you can still join tomorrow, still with Kusakabe Sensei and our rector, Universitas Pendidikan Indonesia, Pak Muhammad Solehuddin, right? Professor Muhammad Solehuddin. Yeah. Thank you, but I want to say interesting thing. When you pointing lesson study in the design research, use point of view in lesson study about educational and design research about research. Yeah, because that methodology. I think that's one I want to make a strong point in that point. I think that's all, Pak Arif. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bapak Ibu, for your attention.
Thank you so much, Prof. Ratu, for your presentation. And then as a closing, maybe I would like to say, Kusakabe Sensei, we are going to close this second webinar. Okay, maybe you're still doing something there. And then, ladies and gentlemen, those are two eminent presenters in their field regarding about learning improvement for all. Kusakabe Sensei emphasized examples of the improvement in many countries such as Bangladesh, Ethiopia, South Africa, and I believe maybe tomorrow he will share also learning improvement for all in some Asian countries such as Vietnam and so on. And meanwhile, in the different side, Professor Ratu emphasized on the design research that has been experiencing many years in UNSRI, and also with her series of the research where PMRI, design research, and then lesson study, somehow in the certain part, it can be implemented together, both in the university level and then in the simply way. Teachers might have used it in the classroom in the simply way. Yeah, and then thank you so much for those speakers, and then very fruitful knowledge and also innovation made. We believe that we heard this is less than an hour or less than 2 hours, but to say like that, they need years in experience. What really good this webinar is held. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, me, Arif Hidayat, as the moderator, would like to close this session by saying Hamdalah.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
And then, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Prof. Ratu, Pak Arif.
Sama, mudah-mudahan bermanfaat. Barakallah.
Terima kasih Bu Ju.